So, welcome back. We're now on day 3 of the Self Talk Awareness Challenge. And I hope that so far you are getting some fun insights and some aha moments of exploring the deeper dialogue that's happening under the hood. Day 1, we focused, of course, on starting to write down the actual dialogue as we could catch it. Day 2 focused on what we call ourselves. And there's a reason that what we call ourselves and what we say to ourselves matters so much. And that is because words have a lot of power. They have a lot of power to change our consciousness, to change our vibration, our energy, our mood, our disposition, our outlook. And when we're not aware of the words that are going on in our minds and that we're saying and calling ourselves, that's a lot of power that we are leaving untapped or leaving to do as it will. So the first 2 days were taking everything out as much as we could, just opening up the mind and pulling out, just like you would a closet, all the things that we found in there. And that's an important first step, and it can be a little overwhelming, and it's ongoing work. So don't feel like that's something that was supposed to have been done. All of this work is ongoing. The easier it gets each time to go in there and clean house and do inventory. So I see us here now at this point where we've gotten everything out, or a lot of it, and we can just start to explore it and to study it and to ask, for instance, why does this matter so much? Why does it matter so much what I called myself in 4th grade? Why does it matter that my teacher called me this, or my best friend called me this, or my ex-spouse called me this? Why does that still impact me so much? And that's what we're talking about here in day 3, which is the power of words to shape your world. They actually say the world in Christian tradition, it began with the word, right? In the beginning there was silence, but in the beginning there was the word, and it brought into all of creation. So that's a lot of power. The whole idea of sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me is just wrong. They do hurt, they cut deep, and it really matters. The way we talk to ourselves, the way we talk to others, the titles and the labels that we place upon ourselves. They change our energy, they change our outlook. So in the yoga tradition, we do a lot of chanting, and there are a lot of mantras. We do all of those chants and mantras in the language of Sanskrit. And Sanskrit is one of these languages that has a very high vibration, or in other words, when you speak it, it raises your vibration. It brings you into a higher state of consciousness. What does that mean? When you are more conscious, you are more aware. When you are more aware, you are responding to life rather than reacting to life. And the difference might sound subtle, but it's actually significant. When we react to life, it's knee-jerk. It's this happens and there's just a reaction, and it's not thought about, it's not thought through, it's not necessarily advantageous, but it just happens. When we respond to life from a place of greater consciousness and a greater awareness, then there is a space. There is a pause between the trigger and how we respond. That's why we want higher consciousness. That's why we want to raise our vibration. That's why we want to make sure that the words that we're saying to ourselves are of a high vibration, not a low vibration. If you want to have better reactions in life, if you want to respond better to life, if you want to be able to take advantage of a situation when it presents itself, or if you want to be able to feel confident in a particular setting and not allow negativity to worm its way in, then we have to trace it all back to what we said to ourselves from the beginning of the day, and how those words changed and opened and hopefully raised the level of our energetic vibration. If you're thinking to yourself, I don't know what that means, I'm going to say that actually you do. You know what it means to be in high vibration because that's when you're feeling really aligned with yourself. So think about a time when you just felt good. Maybe it was the people you were around. Maybe it was just a successful day. Maybe it was a moment with your family or your children or your spouse or a loved one. But you were just you at your essence. There was just an openness and a lightness. We would say that is being in high vibration. And you do know what it's like to be in low vibration. You know what it's like to feel like you can't do anything right, you're not saying anything right, you don't feel like you belong, and so on and so forth. So we do know these states of feelings. We know what low vibration is like, what high vibration is like. We know what it means to be in lower consciousness or higher consciousness. Words are the ticket to higher consciousness. Knowing them, using them well, being judicious in your use of words, not being careless with the way in which you talk to yourself or think of yourself, not being repetitive or taking over where your parents left off, right? Not just continuing old inherited family habits. This work of words and working with words, but what's the best word to illustrate this feeling? What is a word that doesn't carry negative connotations, that doesn't have negative history, that doesn't have so much baggage that it can't do its purpose anymore, that it's lost the power it used to have? So I have a couple of words just as an example for you, and then hopefully that just gets the ball rolling as you start to do your challenge for today. The first one is the word lazy. And when I did this work and wrote down everything that had ever been called, one of them on there was lazy. Nobody else has ever called me that. I've called myself that. My husband does it too in our family, or has. But starting last year, we made a rule that word is just banned from this household because it degrades this activity of rest that is so very important and regeneration. It degrades a whole stage of the human life cycle. The word lazy was birthed out of the capitalist movement, where everything has to be efficient and productive, and every moment and every second has to count and has to be made into something. When we take a word like that, now, and maybe lazy didn't always mean what it means to me today. Maybe there was a time that being lazy was something someone would smile about. But for me, it's a very harsh critique and very much a judgment on me as a person, and which is why it's no longer allowed. So maybe there was a time that it didn't have so much negativity, but now it does. Now it comes with all of this baggage. Hopefully with your work in the last couple of days, you've circled some words or some phrases that will have a lot of impact on you, that when you hear them, they still invoke sensation, they still invoke a response from within you. If you don't have those, go back to those sheets as part of this challenge and begin to circle or check or highlight or color, whatever you want to do, the words that they sting a little bit more still to this day, no matter how old they are. And then what I'd encourage you to do as part of your challenge is take and sit with those words. Ask what it is about that word. Dig into it. Why does it create the sensation? Is it triggering in what way? Is it opening an old wound? Is it comparing you to somebody else? Is it making you look weak or fake? And if you need a little bit of nudging, I would encourage you to take that word and look at the etymology of it. Etymology is the origin or the history of it. How did it get started? What are its roots? What's the root of the word? Is it Latin? Is it Celtic? Where does it come from? And maybe even look into the usage of the word over time. Because as we know, words change meaning over time. The word cool doesn't mean the same thing that it used to mean, for instance. Study that. Go back, look at what that word actually means, where it came from, what its early usages are, what its current usages are. And then I'd also suggest grabbing a thesaurus, online thesaurus, or a synonym finder, and just exploring all of the other words that are like this to see if that can help you dig even deeper into what it is about this word that creates such a sensation. Because our goal here is a little bit different than you might have thought when you began. Our goal is not to necessarily eliminate these words. They're words. We don't have to shove them away, because if we do that, we're going to have to exert a certain amount of energy to keep them away. What we want to do instead is reclaim them and take back the power that they have over us to use for us. So that's your work for this challenge. Study the words that you wrote down, dig into their past, dig into their history. Maybe even, as we're going to do in the meditation, sit with one of them and feel it in your body as you repeat it like you would a mantra, and just see where in your body you feel it, what it invokes. There's a lot you can do in just exploring the power of a word. That is your challenge for day 3. Good luck, and I'll see you in the meditation, and then I will see you for day 4 tomorrow.